use our minds to think about our minds.
I mean, I don't know. Isn't that what therapy is or self help books are for? I think we actually do think about the inner workings of our mind.
And I think we don't. And it is my show. You know that phrase, it's not brain science. Well, this is brain science.
Actually, the phrase is it's not rocket science.
Carolina, can I talk to you for a second over here?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thank you. What is your deal, lady?
I'm just trying to make sure what you're saying is
Well,
accurate.
you're coming off as a real you-know-what.
Ron, I'm sorry. It's just that
You're sorry?
Yes.
Look, can we just make a pact that for the rest of the day, whatever I say, okay, whatever you think of it, whatever your judgment is going to be, you just agree with me, all right? Even if you think, oh, it's so dumb, Ron, or it's so weird, or oh, look, I have a bookshelf and I know how to use a compass. Can
And
you
if I
just-
don't, is this going to affect my salary?
It absolutely will affect your salary.
Great.
Okay?
Okay, fine.
So
Got it.
just go with the flow.
All right. I'll just agree today.
What's the name of the podcast, by the way?
The Ron Burgundy podcast.
It's not called the Carolina Podcast, is it?
No,
If
it's
it
not.
because
Right.
so it's my podcast, and just support me.
Okay.
I want to feel supported.
You're supported. I'm going to support.
Okay. To our listeners, sorry for the pause. Carolina and I had a meeting about accounting.
Yeah, just a quick meeting to discuss some disagreements.
Today we're sitting down with a brain scientist, Dr. Milstein. He's smarter than almost all of us, I promise. There is a strong chance that if you're listening to this, he's smarter than you. And if that pisses you off, I get it. It made me a little angry just thinking about it. I mean, he's not smarter than me. God, I'm getting angry again. All right, Ron, try to be a professional. You know what, Nick? Cut to commercial. I've got to go scream this out.
Support for this podcast comes from Lexus, celebrating the power of humanity to drive us forward.
I'm Maura Aarons-Mealy, host of The Anxious Achiever. My passion is helping anxious achievers learn how to thrive in work and life.
Maura's work emphasizes the importance of expanding our notion of what makes a modern leader.
I would like to erase the myth once and for all that there's a certain type of leader or that leaders are born. Leadership is a skill.
And the stereotype of leaders being extroverts?
This can make people who are more introverted or have social anxiety or just less inclined to take up a lot of airtime feel like they can't be leaders. And that is such a shame because in truth, talking a lot has nothing to do with being a leader. Emotionally intelligent people are better leaders. They just are.
The new Lexus LS has taken the lead by being engineered to a higher standard, the human standard. Learn more at lexus.com/LS.
And we're back. You're listening to the Ron Burgundy podcast, and I'm on a mood stabilizer. So I feel much better. Here we are with a real-life brainiac in the studio, Dr. Milstein, the brain scientist. He knows what's inside your brain. Pretty crazy stuff. How are you, Dr. Milhouse?
I'm doing good. It's actually Milstein, but thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
You know what? I wrote that incorrectly. Doctor, what exactly is your official title?
So I am a scientist,
Yes.
and so what I do now is I take a lot of the latest cutting-edge studies, things that are being discovered, and analyze them and try to get them out to doctors and people who want to know about how to live better, how to optimize their brain, keep it healthy.
So you're not a physician?
No, not a physician, a scientist.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if, like, I had a heart attack right now, you have some medical training, you could save my life?
I would probably call 911.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and maybe attempt CPR.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a CPR class?
I did, yes, in college.
Carolina, have you?
Yeah, you asked me to.
Okay, good. Let me ask you this question. I know there's a lot of information on the amount of sleep we get, right? So why do I need 14 hours of sleep every night?
Do you get 14 hours of sleep every
At
night?
least.
At least?
Yeah.
Gee, that's a lot of sleep. That's you might want to.
Would you say that's borderline too much?
That would be a concern.
Oh, I thought I was doing great.
Yeah.
You always say, I need to make sure I get my 14.
And I'll say, I nailed it last night. I got 16 and a half. So that's not the way to go.
Right. So sleep is definitely very important for the brain.
Right.
But we're looking at more the right amount as opposed to too much or too little. So 14 would be, you'd want to check in with your personal doctor.
So
with that.
during sleep, what does the brain do? It's recharging, regenerating, just literally resting?
So it's actually amazing what we've learned is that it's not just resting. It's actually going through almost like a program, a sequence. And so one thing that's amazing is that when you're asleep, your brain actually shrinks down to
Whoa.
about 65% of its current size and squeezes out of the brain cells trash, toxins, and waste.
Wow.
And it squeezes all that out
Okay.
into that empty space.
And where does that go?
So then fluid comes up from your spinal cord and washes your brain. So every night you have a brain wash. So that's why it's so important to sleep. And then that waste and trash
This
exits.
isn't true.
This is true.
There's no
could-
way this is true.
I could show you a picture. This is
That's
absolutely
incredible.
true. Yeah, this is cutting edge.
Yes.
Just getting into the medical textbook.
So the brain shrinks
down.
to 65% of
Yeah.
its.
Yeah, it sounds
of
like a
its
horror
size.
movie, but it's real.
Is there any chance that when the brain expands back, that it would start to explode out of your head?
That's not a concern. No.
Okay.
But it's a dynamic process. It pulsates, and it squeezes out all that trash and toxins and waste.
Out of curiosity, what if you have a spinal cord injury? Would that affect the process?
That's a great question. So that is a concern. Is that anyone who has a spinal cord injury?
Why was her question so great and mine wasn't so great?
I should have said that. That was a great question
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Both great.
Yeah.
The concern can be that if that fluid is not making its way to the brain, that the
Mhm.
washing might not be as effective.
And so you could keep toxins inside your body?
Yeah. So what we're learning is that even things like dementia, which is very
Mhm.
complex, or someone losing their memory, that's
Mhm.
why sleep is so important. Is because that buildup of toxins and trash,
Interesting.
we need to wash it out every night while we're sleeping.
Got it.
Is this why there's a new trend to drink your own spinal cord fluid?
I haven't heard that. I think that would not be a good idea. Not
Because
good.
I could have sworn that's, a lot of professional athletes are now drinking their own spinal cord fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but that would not be a good idea.
Okay, and so during sleep time, what is the average man's risk for being incepted?
Incepted,
Mm-hmm.
meaning
Like the movie Inception?
Inception. I actually haven't seen that movie. So you mean going
Someone
in,
sneaking into your brain
Uh-huh.
and planting
like bad
ideas.
ideas inside your head.
A lot of times when Ron makes a mistake, he says,
Oh.
I was incepted.
Right.
right? The statistics on that I'm not aware of. I would say they're extremely low, to zero. But I would say that
Well,
what we can learn while we're sleeping is pretty interesting.
because Inception is based on a true story. So
I don't know if it said that, but
I'd like you to tell that to Chris Nolan.
one area though is there's some interesting research you might be able to learn while you're asleep.
oh,
Some maybe a word
you
here or there.
process the information that
You
you
might
heard there.
process it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like a foreign language or
So that's
or CPR.
foreign language. I wish that was true, but it seems like maybe you could learn a word here or there.
You know, it'd be fun to take CPR in a foreign language, because then you'd kill two birds with one stone.
That is a good idea.
I'll put
Yeah.
it on your list.
So you're having a dream.
Mhm.
Let's say you die in your dream. Does that kill you, like in Freddy Krueger's Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, that does not kill you. No, if you die in your dream.
Yes.
So yeah, your dreams are not based on what happens in what's going to happen to you in your day to day.
Oh, that is a relief. That is an absolute relief. The other day, I forgot to have my cup of morning Joe,
Mhm.
right? And wouldn't you know it, I punched a hole through this wall. What the heck is that about?
Not getting that morning caffeine.
Yes.
Well, caffeine is something that is very helpful in it wakes you up. People can help them with their mood.
Right.
So it's possible that if you
I had a bit of a mood swing.
you had a bit of a mood swing
Right.
without your morning coffee that you're
Well,
used to.
because I'm getting 14 hours of sleep, and it takes me, what would you say, another 3 hours to get out of my groggy state?
Yeah, I don't usually understand what you're talking about until 3 cups of coffee.
Yes.
But you've said some really sweet things, and then after coffee you say,
I become a normal, rational human
yes,
being.
exactly.
Doctor, when you scan my brain, what color is it?
So your
Is it necessarily a color?
it depends what type of scanning you're using, but
Okay.
you're usually looking at things like white matter and gray matter. So it usually would come up in a scan as white or gray. But there are ways that now they do scans where there's colors that represent different parts of the brain or different connections. So the computer assigns colors to different parts of the brain.
If you scan someone's brain, can you tell if they're a white hat or a black hat?
That's a term we just learned in cybersecurity where a black hat is a bad hacker and a white hat
Yes,
is a protective hacker.
Thank you. That was a good question, right?
That was a good question.
Yes.
I don't believe so. No, I don't think you can do that.
I mean, if I was in a bad mood and you scan my brain, would it be red? Because I was angry,
So when you're in certain moods,
agitated.
certain parts of your
Right.
brain, blood flows to that part of the brain.
Oh, okay.
And so that you can pick that up on a brain scan and say, oh, this person is angry, or that they're more in a calm state. So those types of things you can see on a brain scan.
Carolina here is a pathological liar. Okay, so what does her brain look like?
I normally would disagree with this, but I made a pact with Ron earlier, so yeah, let's go with it.
What does the brain look like of somebody who's a pathological liar?
In other words, Carolina's brain, what would it look like?
You know, on one hand, we learn a lot from brain scans,
Mhm.
but it's very difficult to just look at a brain scan and make that sort of conclusion that this person is a pathological liar. But our ability to control parts of our brain, our emotions, it really comes from this part of our brain right here behind our forehead, our prefrontal cortex. So that would be something that could be investigated is
Okay.
the size and the strength of that part of the brain.
Should you get a brain scan like once a week just to stay on top of things?
That would not be recommended. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If someone, say Ron, may have exaggerated something,
Here we go again.
and he believed it,
Highly doubtful.
and
Go ahead.
then he believed that it was the truth.
Right.
So some liars believe their own lies eventually.
Right.
Is that from a deep-seated sort of root that they keep using, or
By the way, she's referring to the fact that I won the Heisman Trophy
you see
in 1978.
that is it's a
For
hard.
Southern Methodist University.
Okay.
So something that's really interesting about memory and what we think is reality
Mhm.
is that every time, so when you have a memory, when you have an experience, you make a
Like when I
connection.
ran for 147 yards
Right, when
against Baylor
Right.
Right.
When something like
to
that,
win the Cotton Bowl.
when
That memory?
that
Yes.
memory.
Yes.
So if we go back to what happened in, what was it,
78.
1978, the moment that happened, your brain made a connection. Every time you rethink of it, you revisit that
I
connection.
rethink of my 78-yard touchdown run
and you
to win the game in overtime.
Form the connection.
Yes.
And so every time you revisit it, you actually reform the connection. So you'll notice when people retell stories, the stories change, but they believe what they're telling you
Right.
because they're revisiting the most recent version of the connection as opposed to what happened in the moment they made the connection. So that's why
they remember their memory.
right, they remember their memory. That's why witness testimony is very flawed. That's why
Oh.
two people experience the same event
Right.
and years later they have very
They have
different
very
versions-
different account.
very
yes.
different accounts of it. Yes.
Yeah.
So memory is very strange. It's not really, you're not revisiting what actually happened, but the
Right.
last time you thought of it.
Because some people come to me and say, no, you didn't run for a 72-yard touchdown. You ran a 68-yard touchdown.
Right.
And then a lot of people come up to me and say, you were never at that game. You never
Right.
played college football. And that's their memory of it, of what happened.
Right. That's true.
Where in my brain are my taste buds?
Ooh, that's a good question. So your taste buds are actually in your mouth,
Okay.
on your, and and many of them are actually in your nose. So when you're tasting things and you plug your nose, you have a very hard time tasting. Most of taste sensation is actually through the nose. The nose is actually connected very closely to the brain. So the sensory of smell is right here below your nose. And
So is that why a lot of the world's top chefs, when they're sampling their dish before it's about to be plated, will shove a portion of it up their nose to taste it?
So the nose, I'm not sure if they do that, but what I do know is that the nose is very connected to the brain in the sense of smell. And so it's right there. Your brain is right here at the top of your nose.
Right.
And that's the chemicals from the food actually, they go in the air and they attach right there, and that your brain makes
then the
sense
brain
of what that smells.
processes
Processes
that.
it, yeah.
How could I train my taste buds, well, my brain, to like lettuce, to tell my taste buds, oh, you love lettuce?
I guess you could make an association with
Right.
lettuce that's a positive thing, something that you like about something else. Every time you eat lettuce,
so
you
every
make a
time I eat
posi-
lettuce, I'll think of the joy of when I won the Heisman Trophy
Yeah, you could do
in
that. Yeah,
1978,
yeah,
and then
that moment.
I'll eat more lettuce.
Yeah,
Um, do you do experiments on mice?
I have. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I'm not doing.
How cute are they? I think they're pretty cute.
They can be. Yeah, they
Yeah.
can be cute. Yeah, and so when I was
Sometimes you're about to, hook a mouse up to an electrode and like, he's too cute, I can't do it.
there's
Or
definitely
shove a sensor up its butt or something like that.
I love animals, and and I currently don't do any animal research.
Right.
But I always try to remind myself of the greater good for humans. But
Yes.
at the same time, it's tough. I'm going to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Okay.
And what was a successful Ron?
Just thinking about a mouse. Ugh. Okay. A mouse I met. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, Caroline. What were you saying? It'll give me a chance to compose myself.
What's a successful mouse experiment that you've done where mice have taught us about something?
So specifically that I've done, or
Anyone has done that was interesting to you?
well, wow. There's so these what we talked about, the brainwash.
Sure.
That was initially discovered in animals like
Oh,
mice, and then
interesting.
moved up into understanding humans. So there is quite a bit of what we understand starts at the level of, so things start in dishes essentially with cells,
Mhm.
and then if that is understood, then it goes to the next level, oftentimes something like a
Right.
worm or a fruit fly,
Sure.
and then it moves up the ladder until we
Right.
can make sure that this is valid information that can be helpful for
Wait, so
people.
you're doing tests on fruit flies?
Yeah, I used to do fruit fly research. Yeah, that's a lot of our genetic studies come, believe it or not, from analyzing flies.
And has anyone
That is
ever cloned
incredible.
a fly before?
Yeah, so that has happened. Yeah, so
Sorry.
so that's where they've cloned sheep, things
Right.
like that. But
Mm-hmm.
those are tricky experiments because there's some issues there about how healthy the clone is.
Right.
Yeah.
Doctor, sometimes I lose myself to dance.
Mm-hmm.
How can I stop that?
I would not stop that. They looked at a study where they found that essentially one of the best things you can do for your brain
Is
of
move
any
your
activity
body.
is dance.
Oh, is dancing.
They actually
Wow.
took people who were older.
Really?
And they said, what can we do to make these people have younger brains? And they tried all different activities, exercise, you name it.
Right.
Nothing was better than dancing.
Because it's a combination of physical and creative,
Physical, mental,
the
social,
whole thing.
feel good.
Wow.
It's everything you want to do for your brain in one activity.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so don't give that up.
So dance like a fool.
Dance like a fool.
I won't feel so guilty when I, in the middle of a
It's been kind of distracting.
airplane flight, I just stand up and like,
That
let's boogie.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yes. We're just heading to San Jose, people. Nonstop to San Jose. Let's dance the whole time.
Yeah.
They usually
Yeah.
ask me to sit down
Yeah.
and be
That was,
quiet. But
yeah.
when I hear the song Bad Girls by Donna Summer, I have to dance, okay? I have no choice. Is my brain a mere servant for Donna's beats? How do I get free of her control? Or I guess you would argue, don't free yourself.
So there's two things I think
Right.
we're talking about, which is one is why when you hear a beat do you want to move?
Well, specifically Donna Summer.
Donna Summer specifically.
Yes, Bad Girls.
Are you talking about earworms? This idea that of song you can't get out of your head. How do you get out of your head? That sort of the question, or why is Donna Summer?
Well, I would never
specifically-
put a worm in my ear.
There's that
Is
term.
that what you mean?
No, there's a term
Oh.
that when you have a song stuck in your head and you
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
They,
Right.
They
Right.
call that an earworm.
Yes.
Yeah. And why does that happen?
So there's been these really interesting studies where they found that your brain loves to predict what's going to happen next in a song, and a lot of these songs that are so catchy, they're not quite predictable. And so your brain is
Wow.
constantly replaying
Oh.
that little piece over and over again to try to make sense of why it wasn't quite exactly what your brain expected,
Okay.
and it goes on a loop.
So
in
your
brain.
brain finds comfort in predicting the next pattern.
Yes,
Something
your brain
along those
your brain
lines.
loves to predict the next thing. That's
Gotcha.
why, when you're driving work to home, home to work, and you say, "How did I get here?" Your brain loves that predictability. It loves to go
That
into
routine.
autopilot. Yeah, it loves to go into autopilot.
Because
So
the
when
brain gets a chance to check out.
essentially, yeah, it goes into what we call autopilot or habit mode. And so when something is surprising or new, your brain can become fixated on it.
Now, I wonder with GPS, is that affecting the brain's ability to remember how to get home?
They did this study with taxi drivers who had to
Right.
learn London, and it seemed like there's something good about finding your way, using directions, and it actually can be helpful to the brain. That it's possible we could be losing that.
Predictability. This makes me think of monogamy. So
Mhm.
how, because the
Which
brain.
Carolina is not. She's never been in a monogamous relationship in her life. Continue.
Yeah.
Thus the song Bad Girls.
Yeah, I like.
Beep, beep. Aw, toot, toot.
Do you think the brain likes predictability, obviously? So if you're in a monogamous relationship,
Get to the point, jeez.
do you think that the brain likes the monogamy, but also it obviously, like, when you have a song stuck in your head, likes the new thing that they can't predict? So how does that affect monogamy versus a new person?
So love in the brain is something that's been analyzed quite a bit in the last few years. And so there's different stages of love. There's early love where you're excited, it's new and exciting, and then it kind of calms down. There's kind of the sweatpants phase of love where people
Sure.
get more comfortable. And that can be a good thing, but it can get a little monotonous.
Right.
And so what is often recommended based upon the brain is that keep doing new and surprising things. Go new places, see a new movie, go to a new restaurant, because that element of surprise causes dopamine release in the brain and actually helps keep the relationship exciting.
Sure.
So, doctor, I'm a guy who likes to go with my gut.
Mhm.
You know, I want it, I got it. You like my hair? Just bought it. What does my brain have to do with my gut instinct?
So that's really one of the most exciting areas of brain science right now, which is that what's happening down here in your
This
gut
connection.
is this connection.
Right.
And so a big part of that is that you have trillions of bacteria living in your gut.
Right.
And those bacteria are releasing chemicals, and we all have different types of bacteria. Those different chemicals can stimulate nerves that send signals to the brain.
So the idea of the gut instinct, there is a real connection that you should listen to that.
So we're not sure yet if you should be completely listening to your
Okay.
gut, but your gut is sending signals to your brain. So do you like chocolate?
I'm a chocoholic.
Chocoholics.
Yes.
So people who are chocoholics oftentimes have certain types of bacteria in their gut
Okay.
that are actually sending signals to their brain saying, go get some chocolate.
Go. Okay.
Our mood, our anxiety, our feelings of stress, complex, but what's happening in our gut, bacteria send signals and can impact how we're feeling. So it's we wouldn't think that, but what's happening down here in our
Right.
gut has this really fascinating relationship with our brain.
So when you feel your stomach drop, or you feel that sinking feeling of you're scared or you're anxious or you have to go to work, that's connected to
what
your
what are
ps-
you implying?
sometimes
You have a sinking feeling in your
a
gut?
little bit.
Then just eat some chocolate.
So
That's your advice for literally everything.
Well, is it bad?
No, it's good advice actually. It's
Yeah.
positive reinforcement at the very least.
So we used to always think that, for example, if you're stressed or worried, that was happening from your brain, and then you would get an upset stomach. And that's true. That's still very true. But now we realize it's a two-way street. So what can happen is that your gut can be off, and then that can send signals to your brain that make you nervous or worry. So it's this idea that these two organs are talking to each other.
And so nutrition affects our moods a lot.
Yeah, so that's what we're learning is what we eat can have an impact. It's not the only thing that impacts our
Sure.
mood, but what we eat determines what types of bacteria live there,
Mhm.
and then what type of bacteria live there can impact how your mood is.
I forget everyone's birthday.
Mhm.
That's just me. I've never remembered a birthday in my life. How can I remember one? I just need to remember one, my own. How do you remember your own birthday?
Remembering your own birthday, usually when things are repeated over and over again, they get deeper
That gets
into
locked in.
It gets locked in. Writing it down and revisiting it can be helpful. So
Right.
putting it on a Post-it note. The more we see things, making it emotional, making
You
it
can't say your birthday is every Friday. I've had to wish you a happy birthday.
Well,
He loves the attention of the cake and the candles.
I've gotten used to it, to have my birthday every Friday.
And that's the repeated behavior again.
right.
My brain loves it. But subsequently, I've actually forgotten the actual
Yeah.
date of my own birthday.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
Fascinating. Yes. So, will we ever develop powers of ESP in our brains?
That's a good question. I would say not in the near future, no. In terms of evolution,
But like next year?
not in
in
the
the near.
Not
Oh,
in the
I thought you
near,
meant
near
like
future.
next
Yeah,
week.
Yeah, not in
Yes.
not any time in evolution is very, very slow.
Okay.
So.
God, that's a shame.
I know.
But we know so little about the brain that there is, a lot of hope for understanding more and tapping into things.
And everyone, you hear this like we only use X% of our brain.
Right.
What would you?
Yes, that's considered one of the biggest myths in brain science. That's based upon this idea that you're only using 10% of your brain, but you're really using your whole brain. You're using all.
That's what I've always said.
Yeah, you're using the whole thing, but your ability to learn more is almost
Limitless.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even with age.
Even with age, many parts of learning actually the ability to learn new things, to analyze things, can get better with age.
So you can teach a new dog old tricks.
Yes, yeah. The brain
Old
is
dog, new tricks.
constantly rebuilding, remodeling. So it's
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yes.
Yes.
We're teaching Ron some sayings.
Yes. What was the other saying we were working on?
You said, this isn't my first
rodeo.
But you said my first merry-go-round.
Yes. Sayings are fun. Is that a sign of intelligence?
I guess referencing things. Yeah.
Huh. What about if you can name, like, all the teams in the NFL? Is that a sign of intelligence?
Intelligence is many different things, but recall, memory, that's a part of it, part of intelligence. But many different things are involved in intelligence.
So here's a big question. It's been put out there by certain pundits that our current president is cuckoo. Where do you stand on that? On your analysis from afar, is he a crazy man? Or is he crazy like a fox?
So
is that the saying?
I think that is the saying.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Usually, so psychologists, which is different than what I do, I think they try not to analyze people unless they've met them. That's essentially the credo in making that assessment. And so,
even though I'm a pretty good judge of a character from afar,
right.
I'll often walk into a crowded room and just go,
"I don't like you,
bozo, narcissist."
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep interrupting.
No. But those terms like narcissist or psychopath, we throw those terms around. But really, to actually know if somebody truly is that term in general,
you'd have to sit with the person
down and talk to them and have a professional really analyze them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for spending time with us here on the Ron Burgundy podcast. We have learned so much.
It's truly fascinating.
You've put to rest a lot of questions that we had, and we wish you continued success.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
And we'll have more right after this commercial break.
Support for this podcast comes from the new Lexus LS. When you look at a successful modern leader, at first you might see an intimidating facade. But when you take a closer look, you find a very human core. Because intelligence will take you far, but humanity will always take you further. That's why Lexus has engineered the new Lexus LS to a higher standard, the human standard. Featuring provocative styling, world-class craftsmanship, and intuitive functions designed for humanity. Learn more at lexus.com/ls.
So we're starting. We're rolling.
Are we already recording?
Look at that. You got notes. This is so official.
Hey guys, it's Brian Baumgartner. Maybe you've heard my podcast,
Support for this podcast comes from the new Lexus LS. When you look at a successful modern leader, at first you might see an intimidating facade. But when you take a closer look, you find a very human core. Because intelligence will take you far, but humanity will always take you further. That's why Lexus has engineered the new Lexus LS to a higher standard, the human standard. Featuring provocative styling, world-class craftsmanship, and intuitive functions designed for humanity. Learn more at lexus.com/ls.
Do you love a good story? Fantastic! Because each episode of Storytime features some of your favorite creators from YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, and beyond sharing their most hilarious, horrifying, and cringe-inducing stories.
Now, peeking in, I realize that she is talking to the doll heads.
Every week, I, your host, Will McFadden, deliver a hot, fresh, tasty tale directly to your earbuds. And you don't even have to tip me. Listen to Storytime every Wednesday on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ron Burgundy, talking and saying things. Ron Burgundy, he's not playing games.
Good morning, listeners. This is Ron Burgundy, and I hope everyone is having a great morning. enjoying the great weather with a little cup of joe. Actually, I can't fake it today. I don't know what to say.
Is everything all right?
Well, I just received some news before walking into the studio today. I wish I could say it was good news. But no. It's pretty fucking dark, to be honest. And not funny dark like Lenny Bruce or when a kid falls down. It's just
Yeah.
It's just dark and full of despair.
What's going on?
Okay, I'll just say it. I got some results back from my doctor.
Oh my God. Wait, Ron.
And I have an announcement.
Okay.
I have a cavity.
What is wrong with you?
And yes, of course I'm scared. I mean, why me? If it had to happen to anyone, why not Carolina?
You know what? Because I brush my teeth.
Excuse me, I brush my teeth. I'm not an animal.
Well, you have to brush twice a day. So do you brush twice a day?
Okay, Carolina, nice try. I wasn't born.
Do you mean you weren't born yesterday? Because that's... Listen, I'm not trying to trick you. If you have to brush twice a day, when do you brush your teeth, Ron?
Well, when do I brush my teeth?
Yeah.
When everyone else does, on holidays.
You only brush your teeth on holidays.
Well, not all holidays. I mean, President's Day isn't really a holiday, is it? So I
which
brush
holidays?
during Christmas
Okay.
or New Year's. I put on some nice slacks. I brush the mustache with my ivory comb, and I brush my chompers. It's the holidays, so you want to do it up. And sometimes I forget. I'm not perfect.
Doesn't the smell of your breath bother you?
You mean the smell of rare steak and aged whiskey? No, Carolina, that doesn't bother me. Just like the smell of top ramen and cold brew coffee must not bother you.
Okay, take it easy. Don't your teeth hurt?
They felt fine, like normal teeth, with the texture of wool. And then out of nowhere, I felt a pain as sharp as Zeus' thunderbolt. So I went to the doctor.
You went to your general doctor.
Yes. Then he referred me to a specialist.
You mean a dentist?
Oh no, Carolina, are you a cavity survivor as well?
I wouldn't call myself a survivor, but yeah, I've had a cavity.
What wicked webs we weave.
I think we should move on.
All right, what are we doing today, if anything?
Well, we're definitely doing something today, and that's why we're here in the studio. We're actually interviewing Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, right, okay. Today we have Clayton Kershaw, the famous Croatian circus clown.
No, wait. I didn't... How many Clayton Kershaws are there? I'm talking about the Dodgers pitcher.
Well, Carolina, I specifically asked you, and I think I asked you upwards of 50,000 times to get Clayton Kershaw, the Croatian circus clown. He travels through Croatia in a wagon led by mules.
And that's who you wanted to interview? The
Yeah.
Croatian circus clown? Okay.
For the millionth time, yes. I mean, does a baseball pitcher even know anything about Croatia?
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe we just... Let's stay off the topic of Croatia. It might not make sense to ask you about it.
I know, but when I think of Clayton Kershaw, I'm going to think of Croatia.
Just keep thinking about baseball questions.
So he's a baseball player for who?
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh, yes, Clayton Kershaw. That
Yes,
Clayton Kershaw.
yeah.
Oh, he's outstanding.
You're very familiar?
Very familiar. I can't
Okay.
wait to talk to him.
All right.
In fact, we will talk to him right after these messages.
Support for this podcast comes from Lexus. When you look at a successful modern leader, at first you might see an intimidating facade, but when you take a closer look, you'll find a very human core. That's why Lexus has engineered the new Lexus LS to a higher standard, the human standard. Humanity is at the heart of the new Lexus LS, with intuitively designed functions like a new touchscreen multimedia display that makes it easy to reach your team, and lane departure alert with steering assist that helps you get there. Because it's more than intelligence that we admire. It's the humanity behind it that will always take you further. Introducing the new Lexus LS, the most advanced LS yet. Learn more at lexus.com/LS.
And welcome back to the Ron Burgundy podcast. We are very excited to have here in the studio with us from the Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher Clayton Kershaw. Clayton, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Appreciate it.
Carolina?
Yes.
Are you excited to meet Clayton Kershaw?
I'm so excited. I just learned about baseball.
Right.
And Ron walked me through a game.
Clayton, you're a lefty.
I'm a lefty.
Were you always a lefty?
Yes, whole time.
The whole time?
Whole time. Never
You
changed.
never thought about switching to right?
I thought about it, but it just didn't work.
Didn't work?
Did not work, no.
Does that give you an upper hand?
There's less of us, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit more unorthodox. So
Yeah.
it definitely helps a little bit,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
The left-hander is very valuable in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Yes. But there are no left-handed third basemen
No.
or catchers.
Are you a lefty, Ron?
I'm a right lefty.
So you didn't play third base?
I did.
You did?
That's why we lost every game. Because I couldn't make the throw across the diamond.
You also read while you were on third base.
I did. I would read. I'd have a paperback novel in my
Yeah.
back because I got
You
bored.
said it was-
Baseball. I mean, you have to. It's kind of a boring game if you're not paying attention all
For
the time.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
action is intermittent at best.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm gonna write that. I'm glad I fit that word in. Intermittent. I have a word a day that I try to fit into
Yeah.
my language.
You
and
were saying ardently a lot.
I said ardently like
in our
30
lab.
times
It was
yesterday.
pretty evident.
Whether it fit or not.
Yeah.
It was very intermittent.
Okay.
Did you play last night?
We did, yeah, we played.
And who did you guys?
We played the Mets, New York Mets.
Okay.
And we won. I think
All
the
right.
final
Congrats.
score was 8-5. Yeah.
Were you at home or were you in New York?
We were in LA.
Okay.
Yes, we were home.
And how are the Mets this year?
Honestly, I don't know what their record is. I think they're okay.
Because you don't care, right? You just play your game.
Just play
You
the
go
game.
down there and
yeah, they're a good team. I think they'll be all right.
right.
Yeah.
What? How many innings did you throw?
I threw 6 innings. I didn't throw very well, Ron. I had a rough game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't super great.
It sounds like you want to talk about it.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, no, it was good. We did win,
So
that was
now,
the main point.
When you don't have a game that you feel great about,
Yeah.
how are you able to just got to forget about it, right?
Yeah, it's tough, but as a starting pitcher, you play once every 5 days, so you got like 4 days to think about it and
Right.
get back at it that 5th day.
So what's your advice to players, whatever age, in high school, middle school, who have a rough day?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's going to happen. I think, everybody's going to have their bad days in baseball, right? But I
Yeah.
think more than anything, it's just about how you go about it. And then baseball's a lot about how you handle failure. There's
Right.
a lot of failure in baseball. So it's really important to be able to compartmentalize that and go from there.
And you have a son, so when your son gets older,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
he
I'm going to be
plays
super
sports-
hard on him. I'm going
Good.
to be, right
Good,
all
good,
over
good.
him.
Keep the
Yes.
pressure on.
Yes.
Turn up the
Yeah.
heat.
Let him know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Right.
got a lot to live up to.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, I just want him to have fun. As long as he's loving baseball, he can play as long as he wants.
But what if he's like, Dad, sorry, I like badminton.
I like leather-bound books.
What if he enjoys?
That'd be great.
In fact,
Yeah.
I have some leather-bound books around here somewhere. I also have a loaf of bread.
There it is.
That's my lucky loaf of sourdough there.
That's his
For
lunch
the listeners,
for today.
there is a giant loaf of sourdough bread.
It's kind of
on-
like when Aladdin would bite into a sourdough in the cartoon.
I don't remember that.
Okay,
Do you?
sorry. Scratch that.
Carolina, make it count.
Okay.
Okay. We've got Clayton Kershaw in here,
I brought up
future
Aladdin.
Hall of Famer, and you bring up Aladdin and the bite into the bread, and he's about to leave. You're not going to leave right now.
No,
are you?
just
Oh,
stay.
okay.
It's-
Okay.
We'll get back to the
What?
point.
Let me ask you this question: what's the worst city to play baseball in? What's the place you hate the most?
I don't know if I can answer that.
You
But
sure? Go ahead.
Bad food.
Let me. I'll throw some names out,
All
and
right,
you can
all
just
right.
either
I'll nod or
Cleveland.
it's not my favorite. Yeah, it's
Uh,
okay. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, you guys don't play in Cleveland ever, do you?
very rarely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
I like Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
yeah, Sleeper
Okay.
City. I'm in on
Okay,
Milwaukee.
Sleeper.
Yeah,
Albany. Is there a professional team in Albany?
never been.
Oh, all right. Miami.
It's a fun city.
Right.
The team's not great right now,
Yeah.
so the fan atmosphere lacks a little bit.
Oh, like there's no one there.
Not a lot, no.
What would you say? Like 1,000 people in the stands?
It feels like that. It really does.
Can you guys can hear individual fans?
It is way worse when there's less people because you can hear the "you sucks" way more, like way more.
That's what I've heard. I heard someone was saying that professional ball players, you can never acknowledge anything that the fans say to you.
You're right, but
because if you
sometimes
do, they'll know
they
you can
hear
hear
you.
them.
Yes.
But sometimes you can't help it.
Some of it's so funny though, Ron.
What's the weird?
I know,
What are the
some of
weird
it's
ones?
So funny. Well, some of them do their research, right?
Okay.
Like they know your wife's name, your kids' names.
Oh my
and
God.
Yeah, I mean they know where you're born. You know, they know anything that Wikipedia has, they'll find it and say it. And you got to give them a little credit. They've done their research,
Sure.
but. You know, I just appreciate a good old, you suck. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Some
that's classic.
schoolyard stuff.
Yeah, it's good. You can't fight that.
Right.
You just say thank you and move on.
You appreciate the fact that they're as tough of fans as you would want at Dodger Stadium.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I hope we give it
right. Yeah.
Yeah, just give it back.
You've won 3 Cy Young awards. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Who is Cy Young? Does anyone know?
He was a pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my research shows me. And so in 2011, you won baseball's pitching triple crown. What is that exactly?
Wins.
Wins versus losses.
Yes.
ERA
And strikeouts.
strikeouts. So you were the league leader in all 3 of those. And then that next year in 2012, did you brag to everyone, all the other opposing players, like triple crown winner last year?
Everybody I saw. I just kind of wrote it on my forehead.
I mean, you've been described throughout your career as the best pitcher in baseball. Do you ever just scream that at people? Like if you can't get into, Chili's on a Friday night, I'm sorry, mister, could you just scream at the hostess, I'm the best pitcher in baseball?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
You can't borrow that for Chili's, by the way. It's for Clayton. You can't just yell that.
Well, I'm now going to say, I know the best pitcher in baseball.
Okay. You can say that.
Give me a booth.
Yeah.
You know what I like about Chili's though is they don't play favorites. So you say that.
Oh hell.
Yeah, and
You know
you're gonna
what?
wait the 15 minutes like everybody else.
I cannot fault Chili's for that.
I can't.
That's
either.
right.
They don't play favorites.
They
The only democracy left.
is Chili's.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me ask you this: what's it like to be a Dodger with all that baseball history?
It's awesome.
It's got to be.
It's great. I love it.
One of these storied franchises in not only in baseball but all of sports.
Yeah, so cool.
When you put that uniform on, do you sometimes wet your pants?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's so many cool people that have been part of the Dodgers. It's really special.
I can think of all of them. Bert Hooton.
Who else?
Mostly Bert Hooton.
You can think of all of them?
Yes.
All of them. Doug Rau.
I haven't heard of Doug.
Doug Rau, Bert Hooton.
Boonk.
Who?
Boonk.
Boonk?
Wrong name. Sorry.
No, I don't know. Here's something that always drives me crazy. I don't think Sandy Koufax gets enough credit. 4 no-hitters, a perfect game, all this while being the first and last Jewish woman ever to pitch in the big leagues. Why is that overlooked?
It should not be.
I mean, no one brings that up.
Nobody.
There hasn't been a female pitcher in baseball before or since, and this lady.
Have you ever seen a picture of?
I can't say that I have.
You might want to just Google that.
Oh,
check that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just don't know why people don't make a bigger deal.
I agree
about the fact that, Sandra Koufax, amazing player. One of my favorites, even though I don't know what she looks like.
Okay.
I couldn't pick her out of a lineup if I had to. If they said to me, Sandy Koufax is down the building, I'd be really nervous, and I'd say, where is she? What sort of dress is she wearing?
Just have to yell her name.
Yeah, just yell, Sandy, raise your hand. Now, is it true that your great uncle discovered the planet Pluto?
That is very true. Yes, Clyde Tombaugh.
Clyde.
Yes. Was he really pissed when they said Pluto wasn't a planet?
The family was for sure. We got a lot of, we had a big moment about it.
For those listeners, Clayton's great uncle was, I assume, an astronomer or astrophysicist or something.
Yeah, he discovered Pluto.
It'd be great if he was just an insurance salesman and he just
look at that
thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to call it Pluto.
There you go.
Yeah, but he discovered Pluto.
He did.
And then when they said it was not a planet,
devastating to
my
mom's maiden name, Tombaugh family. Devastating.
Just went crazy.
Yes.
I think it's mean to take it back.
I think it is too.
I mean, what? Yeah. Who gets the authority on planet naming or finding?
Yeah.
What's the governing body that can take that away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So they think that Pluto's just a ball of inert gas?
Don't laugh, Ron. Ron.
You know where I get a ball of inert gas?
I don't-
after I eat at Chili's.
Okay.
Okay. I was waiting for that one.
All right.
Good. Okay, got that joke in. That was good. I mean, when you retire, do you feel like you need to discover a planet?
I would love to. I don't know. I feel like everything's.
I mean, when you're out of baseball, what does Clayton Kershaw think he's going to do?
Can I maybe help you out with the podcast, Ron?
Oh my God, I would love it.
I think all positions are.
Oh, they're final?
Oh,
I think.
I could be an intern,
Yeah.
non-paid.
You know what? Work your way up from the bottom.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I'll pay my dues.
Learn the craft
Yeah.
of podcasting.
Yeah. Ron constantly threatens to replace me, so I really need. The
I won't
job
take your job.
security.
I won't
Okay,
do that. I
thank
won't
you.
do that.
I got to ask you this. So, Carolina, you may not know this, but the Dodgers are in the National League,
Yes.
and the pitchers in the National League have to hit.
Mhm.
Where the Sad Sack American League, they don't have to hit. They
Mhm.
have what's called a designated hitter.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy hitting as a pitcher?
I love taking batting practice.
Okay.
So that's fun because you get to hit maybe a home run in batting practice,
Right.
and it's really fun.
But then when it comes to the game,
Yeah, that's more difficult.
it takes you out of your rhythm.
Well, it's hard.
And it's
to hit.
hard.
Yeah, hitting's like really hard. Like the hardest thing to do in sports, in my opinion. And I don't practice a lot. And you're facing guys that throw really hard. It's just hard. It's hard to do. But batting practice is fun. They throw it right there for you.
Right down Broadway,
In
as they say.
Beautiful stadiums. You get to be a kid again. No pressure. It's awesome.
Do you ever yell to the opposing pitcher like, "Hey, just come on, throw easy, and I'll throw easy on you"?
No, because then I have to throw easy to them, and that's no
Right.
fun. I gave up a hit to a pitcher yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I did.
You get ribbed in the clubhouse for
I
that.
do. I told you I had a rough game yesterday.
Note for our listeners: the game referenced by Clayton Kershaw took place in May, not in the fall when this podcast is airing. Therefore, if there's any confusion, that's what happened. The game happened earlier in the season. Thank you for your patience. Good. Thank you. Bye. Jacob deGrom. Didn't he used to have beautiful flowing locks of hair?
He did.
Then he cut it all off.
I don't know why.
Trust me, if you've got a luscious mane of hair, don't get rid of it, because once it's gone, there's a good chance it's never coming back.
Good to know.
Sometimes it grows.
I never cut my hair, and it never
Yeah.
grows. It's the same length all the time.
That's true.
It's a genetic imperfection.
Oh my God.
I was born with
a-
this
this
head of hair. Yes,
It-
as a baby.
As a baby?
Yes,
That's so insane.
and the doctor was like, "This is one gorgeous kid." How many Dodger dogs have you had in one sitting?
I've wanted to join the hot dog eating contest. I think I would do well, but I think 2 is probably the most I've had in one sitting.
Did you ever want to meet Kobayashi?
Yes.
The professional hot dog eater?
I do. That's amazing.
What did he eat? 60 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing.
Carolina, how many hot dogs have you eaten?
Today, in general, I've eaten 3 or 4 hot dogs in one day
sitting.
before.
There's nothing, I don't know what it is about a Dodger dog.
If you eat it fast enough, your body can't tell you you're full.
And that's their slogan.
But you got to
They
eat
are
it under 20
delicious.
minutes.
You really do. You know what? Sometimes I'll go to an all-you-can-eat sushi and just sit there for 6 hours.
Can't kick you out.
I put a "Do Not Disturb" sign at my table, and they get pissed at me.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
And I'll just point to their sign. It says all you can eat,
Yeah.
not even a time limit. You know what? Don't call yourself all you can eat.
They've taken you out and you've been literally punching in the air, just too
I have
full.
been dragged out by LAPD. But gosh darn it, if I didn't eat
You said it was
$2,000
worth
worth of
it.
sushi. Yeah.
Not great sushi.
Not great sushi, no.
But
You can't resist a deal.
And a lot of times I'll go to the places with the B health code rating.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why.
Because they're happy to have me. They'll let me stay as long as I want.
So bad.
The minor leagues. How many years were you in the minor leagues, Clayton?
2.
Just 2.
2 years, yeah.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah,
I would
it was a
think.
little quick. Yeah, but it was a good experience. I had fun.
With the minor leagues, I mean, it's you're riding buses.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous at all.
Not glamorous. No, not good. But you get to see some places you never see. Like, have you ever been to Burlington, Iowa?
I love it.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
most people I say that
I've
to.
I've got a summer place there. Right on the lake.
I didn't know they had a lake.
Burlington has a lake, doesn't it? Well, maybe it's a reservoir.
Okay.
The man-made lake.
Maybe it's somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be. But it's a good time. You get to hang out and
Burlington, Iowa. What were some of the other cities?
Clinton. A lot of places in Iowa, shockingly. Clinton, Appleton, Wisconsin. This is the Midwest League.
And would this have been single A, double A?
This was single A, and then the other league was called the Southern League, and so I went to places like Jackson, Mississippi, Zebulon, North Carolina.
Just you're staying in motels. And
yeah.
You get what?
With a roommate, you share a room.
$40 a day for
meal money.
20.
It was 20.
That's 20.
Yeah, it might have pushed up, but it was 20 a day.
So you're eating a lot of Subway sandwiches and
yeah, Subway actually. Yes.
Yeah. $5 footlong.
Yeah.
Talk about a deal.
Yeah.
All the time.
Wow. Any time during that stint where you're like, this blows.
Yeah, for sure. A lot. But that's why you try to go fast, get out of there.
Did you ever set a timetable? In other words, if it's 5 years and I'm still at double A, forget it.
Hang it up.
I'll go.
Well, so I didn't
I'll
go to
be a substitute school teacher.
Yeah, well, I would have needed school for that, which would have been a problem because I didn't.
You went straight out of high school.
I didn't go to college.
Okay.
So that was kind of my. Hey, I've got 4 years. I would have
Right.
been in college, so I got 4 years, and then I would have had to think about some things probably.
But thank God it worked out.
It did work out.
So you were scouted. How old were you when you started getting scouted?
High school. Yeah.
But you were like a senior.
Like
or-
junior, senior.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you get a choice. You probably were being offered college scholarships.
I
as
did have
well.
some. I could have gone to college. I was actually going to go to Texas A&M University.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
And then
that
you
was
just
pretty cool.
decided, let's just go for it.
Well, yeah, I decided. Yeah, why not? I wanted to play baseball.
Right.
I didn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
Just did it.
Yeah.
The whole time, though, you were still going to night school, right?
Yeah, still doing that, but
To study to become a dermatologist.
you don't have to go to college for that.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's the one medical
You have
field
to get a
you
new
don't.
dermatologist.
My dermatologist never went to school.
I know.
In fact, he played double A baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a catcher.
And you have a huge mole.
Yeah, I have a mole on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
I think he referred to it as a home run.
Yeah. Not in a good way.
I
but
also have a cavity.
We have to let that one go. It's not as bad as you think.
And my dentist was also a former minor league ball player. So
yeah.
Life is funny that way. Do you have a good dermatologist?
No.
Do you
but
need one?
I'd love to.
You
meet.
should see my guy.
Okay. Sounds good.
Oddly enough, you know what his name is? Sandy.
He's a guy though.
He's a guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is a weird name for a guy. Do you ever get jock itch? I'm just going to cut to the chase.
I've learned my lesson with
Okay.
that. Yeah. Yeah, you have to. Baby powder is a must.
Is a must.
Is a must.
I once got jock itch, right?
Yeah.
And then I made the mistake of scratching my eyes, and I had jock itch all in my eyes.
Oh my God.
I've
and
never
jock
heard of that.
itch in my eyeballs.
Never heard of that.
And then I went to eat all-you-can-eat sushi. It was a hell of a weekend.
Oh my God.
In fact, that was one of the places that had an A rating, and they're like, thanks to you, Mr. Burgundy, we got a B rating. We've got jock itch all in our sushi.
That's might be one of
But you've heard that phrase, I got jock itch all up in my sushi.
I don't think
I think
that's
it
like
is.
a bad situation.
I feel like I heard it in a hip-hop song.
Oh.
That's something that's new in baseball. Everyone has a play on. Like, so when you go to the plate,
A walk-up song.
a walk-up song.
Yes. Yes.
What are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts?
I'm more of a purist. I just
Just-
like a little organ music. Maybe a little organ, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. That's the way, I like it. Take me out to the ball game, and that's about it. But now everyone's got a song.
Yeah.
And
It's a big deal.
it's a bit of a thing.
It is a thing. No
Do
doubt.
guys change their song if
All
they're
the
in a
time.
slump?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's a whole ordeal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any good luck?
Ritual. It's a very
Rituals?
ritualistic game.
Yes.
You probably have a whole
But you don't want to
routine.
share them, probably.
Well,
You don't have to talk about
Yeah.
it.
Okay. I've worn the same glove for a long time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that's no big deal.
like 10 years. It's, yeah, not a big deal. Like, do I wear like my same underwear or like all that stuff?
Right.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh.
I mean, I wash them, but I've
Okay.
worn the same ones for a while when I pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ron does that.
I wear the same underwear.
Washed?
I only have 3 pair of underwear.
I know. We got you
rotate
some
them.
for your birthday. And
I know. They're not lucky yet.
Yeah.
What's the craziest superstition you've heard of any of your teammates?
You don't have to say who.
Let me think here. Well, actually, you know the craziest guy.
Right.
I can say a name here because
They're okay with it?
yes,
Okay.
he's retired.
Okay.
Nomar Garcia
Oh, yeah,
Parra.
Nomar.
Yeah, I played with
Sure.
Nomar, and the amount of stuff that he did with his batting gloves and his bat and
His
kicking
twitches,
his feet.
his
Yeah,
everything
he
like
had.
that. It was a whole thing.
I mean, how do you remember all that? It's amazing.
He probably just naturally does it.
just twitched all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing.
I don't sleep well at night, partly because I get up every 15 minutes, circle 3 times, and go back to the bed.
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes.
That's my ritualistic thing
That's tough.
to help me have a good night's sleep.
But it really
But it
does
really
the reverse,
backfires.
Yeah.
Yeah, baseball is a lot of guys do weird stuff.
Yes, no doubt.
Does Ellen, your wife, ever say, "Okay, Clayton, cut it out"?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think since I've had kids, I've probably toned down because when I used to pitch, like when I on my start days, I
Yeah.
used to not be like a very pleasant person to be
Sure.
around, just kind of like super serious. And
Mhm.
now with kids, they don't let that happen.
Yeah.
So it's been better.
Right.
Yeah,
But still,
a little bit still. Yeah,
you let the kids know Daddy's got to work.
yeah,
Right.
they know. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I try to be better, but they know.
Get your hands off my pitching glove! I'm your father, Clayton Kershaw.
You know, I haven't said that
Yeah.
to him yet. But
Probably
Oh,
for the
okay.
best.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
To each their own.
yeah, to each their own.
Yeah. Before you go in to deliver the news,
Yeah.
what do you tell Walter?
Well, I tell everyone
Yeah.
on the news team, don't forget,
Mm.
I'm Ron Burgundy and you're not. Have a great show.
That's, yeah, it's not really wishing them well, but
No, but it just sets the tone.
okay.
Yeah. Do you ever say to do you ever gather up the team before and say, guys, if you make an error, I'm going to punch you in the nutsack?
I haven't tried that method
Okay.
before. I don't know if fear is the best thing for guys playing behind you. Do you say that to your news team? Like if they mess up?
If they mess up, they'll know. I say, guys, don't mess up. You know you'll be in the doghouse with me. And if I mess up, I don't want to hear about it.
That seems wildly unfair.
Well, I've got the juice,
Yeah.
you know. They don't.
Yeah.
So now they don't really like me that much. They want to hang around with me, but
It's true.
I think we deliver a great product.
Yeah.
I would agree. I love it.
What is behind the superstition of when a pitcher is throwing a no-hitter, the team will not talk to that pitcher?
Yeah.
And when is that determination made? Right around the 5th inning, 6th inning?
Yeah, I would say 5th or 6th inning. It's probably fair at that point. And then I don't know when that started. Like you just kind of let them have their own space in the dugout. I don't know when that started.
It's a little bit freaky
Yeah.
because you see the guy just sitting there
You don't
alone.
want to mess with them.
See,
you know,
that,
like,
if I was on your team, I'd be like, Clayton, how are you doing? Do you want like a
hot dog.
a hot
Yeah,
dog,
hot
or
dog.
a
Oh.
cold towel or anything? Can I
Well-
give you a shoulder rub? You'd probably punch me.
Yeah, I mean, intentions are good there,
Right.
but I think if you're the guy that talked to him and then he gave up a hit,
Then
you're
it's
that
on
guy.
you.
It's not his fault. It's
Okay.
your fault.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to cut to, I love you and your wife have been together since you were
15,
15.
14, 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 That's a beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful thing. So did you go to prom together?
We went to prom together.
Yeah.
Yeah. She went to college, though.
What was the hit song at prom?
Mm.
Do you remember?
I don't really.
Might have been Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Or like Christina Aguilera,
Okay.
possibly. Yeah,
Okay.
something in there. Yeah.
All right.
And how did you ask her out when you were 15?
Passing period. Like after
Yeah.
one class
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
another
yeah, in the
class.
hallway.
So that way you only have 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
you don't have to like talk around with small talk after.
Right.
Hey, you want to go out? Okay, cool. I got to go to class. And then that was it.
Did you say, hi, I'm Clayton Kershaw. I'm one day going to be a dominant pitcher in Major League Baseball. Would you like to go on a date?
I didn't know that at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would have been a very
Confident
cocky
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
pickup
true.
line too.
That's true.
That's true.
And the rest is history.
That's it. That's all it took. She stuck around.
Maybe I'll go back to high school.
It's never too late.
I mean,
Well, on that note, Clayton Kershaw, we cannot thank you enough for
such a pleasure.
for joining us here in the studio. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. And, boy, I just can't wait to come to a Dodger game and heckle you.
All of this information, you have so much.
I have so much information now to specifically ask you about.
I can't wait. Can't wait. Thanks so much for having
Remember when you were in Burlington, Iowa? Yeah, that'll be one of the heckles. It'll just be questions. It'll just be a lot of questions.
It'll be weird if I don't answer back.
Yeah, right. It will be impolite.
Okay. Good to know.
Clayton Kershaw, thanks again. We really appreciate it. We'll
Thank
be
you, guys.
Right back on the Ron Burgundy Podcast.
My name is Rita Kay.
I am Ellen Bernstein-Grodsky.
This is Call Your Grandmother. What's the matter with you, Ellen?
It is a podcast about the relationship between grandmothers and grandchildren. As my mother would have said, Taka, who wouldn't have wanted a Jewish grandmother?
Sometimes she accidentally live streams. We're like, who's going to tell her?
I'm just hearing about this now.
Listen to Call Your Grandmother on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And we are back here on the Ron Burgundy Podcast. What a delight Clayton Kershaw turned out to be. And dare I say, a wonka wonka.
Come again?
A hubba hubba.
Okay, I see.
Gaga goo goo. Handsome baby.
That's a little much.
I mean, gave me a sweet tooth, if you know what I mean.
Kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina, he's handsome.
He's a handsome human.
Huh?
We got to take it easy.
No, I'm saying for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's very happily married. His wife is lovely, Ellen.
Still. Right?
You got to lay off this.
Okay. I'm just saying. Woo! It was hard for me to not get lost in those dreamy eyes of his.
You had dried up drool on the corner of your mouth the whole
Did I?
interview. Yeah.
Oh, that's embarrassing. You got to give me a signal next time.
Sorry. Well, it kept on refreshing.
Did I get those little white spit corners that Donald Trump develops after he's snorted too much Adderall?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay.
What's wrong? What are you thinking about?
No, I'm just starting to think about my cavity again.
Okay.
Should I tell my friends? I mean, I don't want people to worry.
No.
Surgery.
Mhm.
Does your vision get better?
I've never heard of this.
Like when you hit your head and you've all of a sudden learned a foreign language?
Again, never heard of that happening.
Oh, I might get 20/10 vision.
Perhaps.
Well,
Oh, Ron, before I forget,
yes.
we spoke multiple times about Clayton's game last night with the Mets.
Right.
This